Hello everybody! Today we're going to unbox the Sparoma Dehumidifier, take a close-up look and do a quick power on test. So let's first take a look around the outside of the box. Okay, and so now let's go ahead and open up the box. And let's go ahead and remove the contents from the box and set them to one side. So as you can see, the dehumidifier is rather compact, and I'm just checking through the rest of the packaging of the box to make sure that there's nothing else left inside of it or hidden away beneath all that cardboard packaging. Okay, so very well. The box is now nicely emptied out, and what we have here is the Sparoma Dehumidifier in the middle, and of course the rest of the contents. So let's go ahead and first take a look at the user manual. So it comes with a user manual that opens up in a leaflet style. And okay, always read the instructions before operating with any electronic gadget or product. And then over here, we do have some bits and bobs, which I reckon we can just slide out without having to cut open. Okay, as you can see, this works as a very handy pair of budget binoculars as well, should you want it to. Okay. So we do have the power adapter here, so let's go ahead and take a close-up look at the power adapter. So as you can see, it is a 3-pin power adapter, and then there are some specifications to them. And let me just get the connector in view as well, so you can see the entire power supply right there. Okay. Okay, so let me undo the cable tie of the power adapter, and then I can show you the cable length, which is quite useful to know when it comes to the positioning or placement of the Sparoma Dehumidifier. And of course, let me do the power cable part as well. Okay, so that's the power cable end that goes into your power socket. And you have the power adapter itself. And let me just move the power cable up slightly so that it is in view and you can see the whole package or contents. So there we go. Okay, so both decently long. Now let's go ahead and finally move forward to take a look at the dehumidifier itself. So let me peel the sticky tape here. Actually, just let me cut it instead. Might be quicker that way. There we go. And nice to see that it does have a carry handle. So it is a reasonably lightweight and portable dehumidifier. And I'm actually outstretching my arms right here because I do have a tripod and of course the camcorder in the way, and the table is actually set somewhat far from me. So if I do huff and puff, it's because I'm kind of struggling to lift it with my outstretched, very outstretched arms. Okay, let me just move bits and bobs further up so you can see the whole package right there. And then now let's take a look again at the dehumidifier. Nice and lightweight. Side view. So if you're not familiar with dehumidifiers, they're usually quite bulky items. So to see one this compact is actually quite a refreshing change. And something like this, you could position it in your wardrobe or practically anywhere in your household. And let's take a close-up look at the control panel at the top with the buttons for off and on, and then two LEDs there to show you the status. And of course we do have a water tank there with a 1 litre capacity. So this dehumidifier will shut off when the water tank is full, or if the system senses that it is getting a little too hot. Of course, on the other side, nice to see that there are rubber feet at the bottom, actually foam pads, so to insulate any vibration, and of course to keep it nice and stable and in place. Okay, so now, actually before I do that, let's take a quick look at the water tank, just so you can see. So it has a 1 litre capacity, and let me rejig the background a little bit. So nice and simple, and of course there is a little bit of circuitry there to detect that if the water tank is full, and to automatically shut off the system. Okay, so this seems to be a sealed unit because there are 2 screws there But of course, always refer to the user manual before any kind of operation. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pop that back into the, actually just in case you want to check out the internals slightly of the dehumidifier, there we go. This is quite an exercise for me, having to stretch my arms out so far and carry the weight that it is. Okay, I guess now we can finally, actually before we do that, discovered another item right here, which perhaps we may or may not be able to open. There we go. So that it is a push fit clip cover here. And let me, once again, always a joy to be shuffling things around in the background. Okay, simple little cover here. Part of R2-D2's construction. And then there we go. A little bit more of the internals of the dehumidifier. And now let's piece it back together again. Actually, now you might have a better view of what's inside the dehumidifier. Okay, now let's piece it all together. Of course, these are the cooling fins or heat sink, as dehumidifiers do tend to get a little bit toasty over time, but as I've said, this system will shut down if it detects that it gets too hot for its own liking, or if the water tank reaches maximum capacity. So there we go, all back together again, Humpty Dumpty. And now we can go ahead and put the power adapter together. So it's nice to see that it does have that protective plastic cap there. Of course, this is just a simple case of plugging into the adapter, power cable into the adapter, and then adapter plug into the rear base connector socket there. Of course, can't quite see what I'm doing, so let's double check. Okay, so it only goes in one way, so make sure that the groove is aligned to the bottom right there. Easy peasy. Set down the dehumidifier, and of course I need to plug the power adapter into the power socket. So there we go, plugged in, and you can see the power adapter light up right there with the green LED. So now all we need to do is push the power on button on the right hand side. So let's press on that. And you can hear the fans whirring up. And so the dehumidifier is now on. It's nice to see that it does have a blue light, a pair of blue LEDs at the bottom. They might be ultraviolet antibacterial LEDs, but I'm not quite sure. As I've said, always refer to your user manual or product details to make sure and find out. So you can hear it does generate a a bit of noise, as with pretty much any kind of dehumidifier, due to the ventilation that it requires to draw the air through the system. Just being a bit mindful there of the power pack and making sure that it doesn't fall off the table. But as you can hear, it is pretty quiet for a dehumidifier, and compact as well. So you can see the LED light light up green there to indicate that the dehumidifier is on. So as you can see, very simple operation with an on button there and off button on the opposite side. So let's go ahead and press that. Just like that, it's shut right down. And we can always turn it back on. Just like that. And of course, it does take quite a bit of time for the water to be actually drawn out of the air and into the water tank. So it's not something you'll be able to see in this video, unless you want to wait a few hours. And of course, the other LED on the top panel there is to show that the tank is full, and that would automatically shut the system down anyway. Let me get it to refocus right there. So that's the Sparoma Dehumidifier. Thanks for watching and happy drying!